Palpatine's return in The Rise of Skywalker definitely rubbed some fans the wrong way. However, I personally believe that there's no such thing as a bad idea, just bad execution. So I wanted to see if it was possible to make Palpatine's return make sense, whilst also not changing anything about The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. Because the main issue with Palpatine's return is that it has absolutely nothing to do with the ongoing narrative of the sequel trilogy. Easiest way to accomplish this would have been to weave it into the narrative of episodes 7 and 8. If you have at least one movie as set up, his introduction shouldn't be as jarring. But as I said, I wanted to try and do this without changing any of the prior lore. First and foremost, do not make Palpatine the main villain of the movie. Having him as the big bad final boss undercuts Kylo Ren as the main villain, and because the main characters haven't been made to care about this guy, we don't care about this guy. Instead, what they should have done is make his return the end goal of the movie. This can be accomplished by giving Kylo Ren a reason to work with Palpatine that falls within his character. If he was promised the ability to undo his biggest mistake, which was killing Han, I think he would have jumped for it. Hell, you can retroactively put Leia in there too, so now his main driving force is the resurrection of his parents. We, the audience, after 6 movies, knows that Palpatine's probably playing him, but for Kylo Ren, it would make sense that he would fall for it. Rey having access to the ancient Jedi text can put 2 and 2 together and realize what Palpatine's actually planning. This allows Kylo Ren to be the main villain of the story and stay directly opposed to Rey, whilst also setting Palpatine up as a ticking time bomb rather than an out-of-nowhere character. Think the first Doctor Strange movie where we have our main villain, but then you have Dormammu being the overwhelming threat that's in the background. Hell, if you play your cards right, you can keep Palpatine as Rey's grandfather and it still would make sense. Remember, Rey's biggest character flaw is her need for familial connection. So here's my thought. Keep her parents as filthy junk traders who sold her for drinking money. But once Rey comes into contact with the Wayfinder, have her still have a vision, just a different one. Have her experience a first-person point of view of a man who is being tortured day in and day out on Exegol, showing how they would test day in and day out if he could be a viable candidate for a vessel of Palpatine. From there, showing snapshots of his life up until he abandons Rey. This will provide enough information for us to figure out that he's a strand cast and also give reasoning for why he abandons Rey. He is a terrible person because his family is terrible people. So now instead of the cringy "you are a Palpatine" scene, you have Rey slowly coming to grips with it. So now Kylo is fighting to resurrect his family and Rey is fighting to not become her family. Then at the very end, Kylo realizes too little too late that he was being played the entire time, but by that point, Palpatine is on the scene. Having the final threat exist because our main villain made terrible choices keeps him interesting. So now when both team up to fight Palpatine, it's a culmination of both of their character arcs. And bonus, because you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time backtracking The Last Jedi, you can give interesting things to do to Finn and Poe. I think this would have tied all 9 movies together perfectly. And I think it would make the Rey Skywalker pill easier to swallow for certain fans. But as always, this is just my opinion, and as always, I want to hear from you guys. What's your favorite movie from each Star Wars trilogy? Whatever it be, leave it in the comments, let me know.